You know what really makes us mad? Is wasting money on CDs with only one or two good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to punklottopod, Low T Edition, the game where no one wins. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley.
I'm your other co-host, Dylan Hensley.
And this is the show where, using a number generator and the Rate Your Music punk charts, we pick 1 year, 1 album, and 1 EP to discuss.
You're supposed to listen to the things they're not saying.
Like the reviews that we get.
Yeah.
Please continue to rate and review us on iTunes because the wrong people keep doing it.
Just like people that don't seem to understand the point of the show.
We've had 3 different reviews that, well, 3 reviews criticize us on not knowing enough. And one was like, you just read from the Wikipedia. It's like, no.
Well, if you would state the episode, that might be true. Fair enough.
But this isn't an encyclopedic knowledge-based show of, Yeah,
but we did get some other feedback.
Oh, there's one that we got today that was called as pretentious assholes who probably didn't actually have a record collection.
Oh, tell me that in July when I was carting 500 LPs back and forth in 110-degree weather.
It was weird because they called us pretentious vinyl collectors.
Okay, so the structure of that sentence was weird, and it made it sound like they were responding to something that we said. Like we were calling record collectors pretentious, which I don't feel like we said anything like that because we collect records. I don't know. I don't know what we said. The sentence was weird. He had to do like the @ sign and 2 ampersands to call us assholes because I'm assuming that iTunes doesn't let you put cuss words in reviews. Yeah. But no, we got some other I meant the good feedback.
Oh.
Or a response.
Yeah, I mean, so I got a message from a friend that said he was just starting listening to the One Bad Pig episode, and he said, how the hell is Dylan somewhat making a case for this band? At least there are some good guitar solos? What the fuck, Dylan? And then he says, I hate this episode. I hate One Bad Pig. I hate that I now know there was an anti-cranking it band called Lust Control. And then I said, they had a song called Feminazi, too.
There's some decent guitar solos. And the drumming is solid. I'm just going to double down on that.
He listened to the Johnny Cash song and he said, how'd they clear this sample? And then I immediately sent him a picture of Johnny Cash with One Bad Pig.
Oh, man.
On the other side, I found a T-shirt that has the logo of the radio station that One Bad Pig got their name from, and I'm seriously considering buying it.
It's such a good shirt.
It's for like a radio station in St. Louis or something like that. Oh, so good.
Well,
okay.
Moving on.
Is there anything to talk about?
Not a lot. I mean, general life updates, plugging along with my drummer, trying to find us a bass player, and things are going pretty well there. So that's good. I think we'll find somebody soon to finish up the rhythm section, and then we'll just kind of move forward from there. I'm not looking for another guitar player because it's just I'm ready to bear down and really get these songs in order. So.
Well, the little bit you sent me of your little practice demo sounds great, and I think it will help lure some bass players in. I mean, because you have so much, like, that's a complete song, so you can tell what a bass is supposed to be doing in that song, so I'm hoping that that'll get you some nibbles, I guess, some bites. I've been watching River Monsters, so that's why I'm using so many fishing metaphors.
We got a little nibble. Nibble, lure, and bite. You just used all of those.
I did, didn't I?
I'm gonna hook them. I did some.
I like River Monsters.
I did some record shopping.
Yeah.
Picked up some pretty good records. I picked up
What'd you get?
that first Ghostland record.
Oh, nice.
And,
The very first one?
And the Gray Skull Graf Orlock record.
Split?
Yeah.
Split?
It is a split, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a split LP,
Yeah.
right?
Though the Gray Skull side just sounds like Graf, just without the samples.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Justin was in that band too.
What else did I pick up? I got some dad rock. I got The Band by The Band. I got
Go look, you got the time.
I got the James Gang first album. Some
James Gang.
pre-Eagles Joe Walsh.
What's the big James Gang song?
Walking Away or whatever it's called. It's like the first song on that album.
I don't know what that is. Sing it for me.
I got let's Walk Away. I don't know if they have any other big songs. That song fucking rules though.
These are mostly Grand Funk Railroad songs.
I got like a 1981 Emmylou Harris record. It's got like some kind of studio outtakes on it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I picked it up because on the B-side I was like, Born to Run? What? So I looked it up. She's covered Bruce a couple times. I looked it up. It's not a Bruce cover, but the very next song is a Bruce cover. That's The Price You Pay, which is a really underrated Bruce song from The River. So I'm sure that's good. I love Emmylou Harris. So her voice is angelic. What else did I get? Oh, I picked up a B-52's record for our brother.
It's as big as a whale.
It's not that one.
Oh.
Some 7 inches.
Was it Wild Planet? Wild Planet?
Yeah.
That one's got, is that Rock Lobster on there?
No.
That's on the first album. There's a big song on Wild Planet, but I can't think of what it is now.
Party Out of Bounds. Give Me Back My Man. That's got a solo Cindy Wilson song. That's just her doing the vocals. I know that one's a really good one.
Yeah, that record rules. I don't know.
It's probably Give Me Back My Man. That's the...
Oh, I think it's Private Idaho.
that's
That's like the big song.
Oh.
That's like a big staple of their
I don't know that one by name.
discography.
I'd probably know it if I heard it.
Yeah.
What else did I pick up? I picked up a couple 7 inches.
7 inches? That's the worst way to listen to music.
I know. I picked up the O Pioneers cover split with New Bruises, where O Pioneers covers Piebald and New Bruises covers New Bruises by Superchunk.
Yeah.
What else did I get?
I loved that series.
Yeah, those were so cool. They had the Mitch Clem covers and the Nation of Manda watercolors.
Mm-hmm. What happened to Mitch Clem?
He had a kid. I don't know.
Sold out. Not a punk.
I don't know. He probably still does posters from time to time.
I don't know.
Yeah, he just stopped doing cartoons. I mean, they did put out the Nothing Nice to Say complete discography book. I keep seeing it at my comic book store. I'm tempted to pick it up, but I don't know if I want to drop the money on it yet.
I mean, you've probably read them all anyway.
I have read every single Nothing Nice to Say. Well, we have bantered. You want to move on?
You didn't let me tell me what records I bought.
I
the only thing I bought in the last 2 weeks was the new West Coast album.
It's so good.
It's really good. Shoegaze was on Run for Cover Records, I think. Yeah. Yeah, the only other thing, I went record shopping twice in the last week and didn't really buy much for myself. Yeah, and then, the one record store was playing some weird, annoying indie rock music, and I thought to myself, I bet this is what Guided by Voices sound like. And I was right.
Yeah, not a big GBV fan.
No. I don't know, that was one of those trips where I like had stuff in my hand the entire time, and I was like, am I really about to buy an ELO record?
Which
Just because I don't want to buy anything else?
which ELO record?
They had all of them, I think.
Which one were you going to buy?
The double... Is it a double LP? The one with the spaceship on it.
Yeah.
That kind of looks like the Boston
big
spaceship. Yeah. I already have what's the one with News of the World on it? Or is that what that's called? Here's the News.
The news, yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, that's the one you have to buy.
I have that one, yeah. But it's like somebody had sold all their Eldorado. That's the name of one of their albums. All their ELO albums.
I don't like ELO anymore.
I also saw 2 copies of Thriller. So
Everyone just now realized?
Yeah.
We've known that forever. Stop pretending.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, if you can't tell, we
don't want to talk about
these records today. For a couple reasons. So let's just dive into the charts, because, God, we talked for a long time about nothing. We got the year 2017, and our malaise comes from this year, too, I guess.
Are we using that word correctly? General discomfort? Yeah.
I failed college, so...
You saved yourself a lot of money.
No, I didn't. I still have to pay it back.
You could have had to pay 4 times as much back, though, like I do.
Yeah.
And
malaise is a general feeling of discomfort.
I just know Jimmy Carter.
What?
Didn't he say malaise all the time?
Did he?
Yeah, it's the malaise speech. It's like famous. Man,
Malaise.
and you were a history major.
Hey, man, I told you, I failed.
There's an NPR piece on the malaise speech 30 years later.
Well, we didn't cover that recent of history.
Anyway.
It was a Bible college.
Yeah, they weren't talking about Jimmy Carter.
No, except for how bad a president he was.
Bible college. Small liberal arts Christian college.
Yeah.
All right. It's not a good year.
No, 2017 was a bad year for music.
Bland. It is
Even all the album covers are the same color.
gray.
Look at the first 5 albums. They're gray.
Okay, so number 1, and rightfully so, is Converge, The Dusk in Us. It is one of the few records that year that I remember even listening to, that I still listen to. Yeah,
it had that really cool
chrome cover.
holographic chrome sort of cover on vinyl. That was a good record. Like, I remember listening to it and being like, this is really good for like it's like their 10th album or something like that. And it's still fresh. Like, it's still, I don't know. It was just a great record.
It's not as good as All We Love, We Leave Behind.
But I like it better than Axe to Fall.
Yeah, I don't feel like talking about very much else on this list.
There's that Idols record. I think that's a retroactive rating because the Idols record that came out in 2018 was really popular. So I think that's why this one's so high up there. Because I haven't listened to this one, and I loved the last one. There's fucking Sex Criminal at number 4.
Yeah.
Brand new science fiction.
Let's move past
Why are you people rating him so high still?
I mean, we already did this. We looked at the 2017, the general charts, and we noticed so many bands that are canceled.
Yeah.
In like the top 40.
Yeah, there's that Sorority Noise record, number 18. That dude got canceled.
Let's talk about something better.
There's that Mac Taverscan record. Came out, number 30 on here. That Incendiary record was really good. 1,000 Mile Stare. That Drab Majesty record's really good. It's like a dark wave album, but like the good kind of dark wave. Like lots of synths and pulsing beats and super new ordery. Oh man, Dry Jacket? Weren't they like a hum type space rock band? There's our good buddies, Thy Art Is Murder. They didn't rip off Most Precious Blood for that album cover.
I'm on the second page. The only thing that jumps out to me worth mentioning is Iron Chic.
Oh, right. That was like my number 1 in 2017. And if that shows you. That and the Low Tom record were like 1 and 2 for me.
Yeah.
And I probably like that Low Tom record more now.
I did then. But
Yeah.
God. Hard Girls,
Look at this
Floating
shit.
Now. There's another good one.
Yeah.
That's the one on that page.
That Chastity Belt record's pretty good.
It's not amazing, but it's notable. Survival Pop by Worriers.
Warriors. That Piss Jeans record, Why Love Now, is alright.
There's that Sincere Engineer record.
Hey, that was a
That's
great
a
one.
really good one. Should be way higher. I'm surprised it hasn't been bumped up retroactively because they've gotten pretty big.
Yeah.
There's...
God, we're reaching and we can't find anything. So we were talking about this beforehand. Was 2017 so bad because it was the first full year of the Trump administration and nobody wanted to make music?
Yeah.
I remember that year being
It's
awful.
just all these records that came out in 2017 were already written, you know?
Yeah.
They had to have been written already.
Well, not all of them.
Most of them. I don't know how many bands have that good of a turnaround time where they can write a record, record it, and get it released within a year.
True. God, there's just... and so many gray covers.
Yeah, I don't know. We've said it before, but anyone saying that Trump was going to be good for punk is just a clueless old guy.
They're remembering the Bush administration too fondly.
Yeah, well, the Bush administration wasn't even that good for punk.
No, you got American Idiot.
We got metalcore.
Well, I hit our album for the episode.
Yeah, the only other things that jump out to me that I passed was Open City. There's Wayland Storms record. There's
Yeah.
that Waxahachie record.
Yeah,
from
that should be
2017.
higher, right?
I'm really surprised that's not in the top 40.
Rick D's Weekly Top 40.
But I think that
Wow.
that really hits all the
Not
all the
shit.
bases. There's no discernible trends. I mean,
No.
it's
I mean-
what's popular now.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, you have your punk, your evergreen punk rock, late 2000s punk rock sound, fest bands.
You still have the little Midwest emo going on.
And you've got some dream pop, shoegazy type indie rock stuff, and not much else. Hardcore, the heavy stuff that,
Yeah.
it has its own trends.
Right.
But, well, our one album for today.
Yeah. So we got number 217 on the album charts, and it is Hot Water Music and Light It Up.
Shaking it down, but it'll let up. So harden the heart and put away. Deep in the ground, we'll never get up. We'll carry it out and it'll stay. Out in the cypress, buried and wrapped up. Covered with dry line and giving away. Whatever comes, I do the living. Killing with all a little way. We're breaking and crawling and beginning. Fucking it all in every way. Out of the cypress, buried and wrapped up. Covered with dried out and giving away.
It's on fire!
Oh, man. You went for it. See, I did it the way Chuck would do it.
Yeah. No, you didn't try singing well enough, but really can't.
So we're going for it already.
All right. Basics out of the way. Hot Water Music from Gainesville, Florida. Formed in 1993. This record was released on Rise Records, which always weirded me out. So, like, at the time, Rise was known for, like, mallcore and, like, Warped Tour shit.
Yeah, when they signed to Rise,
Yeah.
it was like Devil Wears
Yeah.
Prada and
Dance Gavin
Yeah.
Dance and Mayday Parade. But then they signed Hot Water Music and then Polar Bear Club and 7 Seconds even.
yeah.
And then they reissued like the first 3 Piebald records on
Yeah.
vinyl in that box set. So I was like, weird. I guess Rise was like, oh, Mallcore's not gonna last forever, but I'm still sure they put that kind of stuff out today. They're just a little more diverse with their releases, which we kid ourselves, but even like the type of punk we like, fest punk, like Hot Water Music, it's just as clowny as a lot of Mallcore bands.
Is it though?
The costume is a beard, a hat, cans of PBR, like,
Yeah.
black t-shirts.
I still feel like there's some earnesty.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Know what
it's
I
a
mean? The word earnesty has been ruined for me.
I think I know what our clip is. Ernest goes to Fest. That is my Halloween costume this year. I am going as fucking Ernest.
Blue vest, gray t-shirt, fested hat flipped up.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Know what I mean?
I make a goofy face the whole time. Ugh.
And then you do that like mock documentarian voice he would always do. The festa goer is known.
You gotta carry around a PBR and hold it up like you're doing a commercial. Doing a Mellow Yellow commercial.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too good.
Be on the lookout for a blue vest this year.
I have never wanted to dress up for Halloween so badly.
Ernest goes to Fest.
Oh man. Well,
So the personnel on this album, let's do that real quick because that's the last major thing we haven't touched on. It's like every Hot Water Music album. It's Chuck Reagan and Chris Wallard on guitar and vocals, Jason Black on on the bass, and George Rebello on drums.
just smashing vases.
The album was produced by the band, which was interesting. Maybe why the album doesn't sound that good.
Well, did they record it?
That's what they said. I mean, they probably had somebody else mix it, but they probably had an engineer.
So, you asked me something, or right?
Yeah.
You said you thought that we may have differing opinions on the last half of this record, that we would agree on the first half, and I listened to it, listened to the whole album, wondering what you meant by that, because it didn't jump out. It wasn't a clear black and white, like first half, last half distinction.
Okay, well, what did you think of the first half? Because I know what you're going to say about that.
I thought it was hit or miss.
Oh, God, I was wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I hated the first half.
I
thought the whole thing was bad.
I thought that, honestly, I thought the whole album was hit or miss.
I thought it was the worst Hot Water Music album.
And not even
ever.
hit. Hit is too strong of a word.
Yeah.
More like
Shit.
more like kind of, putting someone on a, I can't even do a baseball metaphor. Like I'm struggling to
Well, let me try and think of a good fishing metaphor then.
Just like you reeled a couple in, but they were little fries. So the first song, it's not great.
What was the first song? It's
Complicated.
The note I wrote for that was, this sounds like butt rock, and what is wrong with Chuck's voice?
Yeah, my first note was Chuck's melodies are all the same now. This sounded, I don't want to do the track by track. I do want to say though that the very next song, Light It Up, was bad.
Something coming out, I cut the fade, and all the undercover I'm a dude. I'm preaching through the static in the noise, raining on those little toys. I guess the freaking light it up to see the dead and quiet.
Right. It was like an 80s LA punk song almost. Like a Youth Brigade song or something.
I don't know what they were trying to do. It was weird. It was this weird like skate punk song almost.
Yeah, which they did that on another track on the album as well.
And I wanted to say
Vultures.
that immediately following the two worst tracks, I think were two of the best tracks.
Which two were the worst?
And it was Light It Up and Vultures. They were the weird songs. Right. And then they were immediately followed by pretty good anthemic, classic middle period hot water music.
Well, I did write for the track right after Light It Up, Show Your Face. I wrote that it was anthemic and boring.
And
I didn't like that one.
I wondered, well, do I like this more because at least it's better than the song right before it?
All right. Was it a by comparison? See, this is my wondering. So what did you think of the second half of the album, Post Vultures?
Post Vultures, I thought it was more consistent.
That's my thought. Well, I thought the second half of the album was... here's my original thought. I thought the A-side, or the first half, was a mess. Just the whole thing, it's all over the place. It's all these different styles of music that isn't really them. There's like two songs that sound kind of like Alkaline Trio. I was like, that's weird, but I'd rather listen to this than Light It Up. But then I thought the second half of the album was the hot water music sound that everyone like knows and loves. And I thought that if the entire album had sounded like the second half of the album, it would be considered still probably the weakest hot water music album, but would have been
more comparable
just thought of
to Exister.
Yeah, like Exister, actually I kind of liked Exister more than Knew What's Next or even Caution, because it felt sort of just like a Chuck Reagan plugged in type album.
So, okay, and that's what I was expecting the last half of the record to sound like. Because of your question, I was like, well, what did they just do, like a Chuck Reagan, like, electric for the last half or something? Like, that's what I was hoping for, almost.
They should have done that. I mean, the second half just felt like... I felt like I noticed Jason's bass playing more on the second half of the album than the first half. Like that real warm, rubbery tone that he has. I couldn't tell you what he was playing on the first half of the album. I don't know, I hated every second of that first half of the album.
I don't know. I didn't have a really strong feeling about it. The record just sounds weird.
See, I was going to say that too. Does it sound like really thin or quiet to you?
Well, so the guitars sound, and like the guitars and drums generally sound fine, but the way the vocals are mixed are really weird, because Chuck's voice is really high in the mix on a lot of songs, and I don't know if it's just like the mic they're using or the EQ that they're doing on his voice, or just like the complete lack of reverb, but his voice is just dry and like hoarse and really not appealing on a lot of these songs. And I feel like if they would just carve out some of that high end in his voice, tame it a little bit, there's just this like, it's like this one frequency band that just cuts through my brain with his vocals on this record, and just dampen it up with a little bit of reverb, and it would sound much better. Because the thing is, I don't mind his blown out, shouted too much, but now he tries to sing.
See, that's my issue with him now. Is I like the blown out part, because that's what Hot Water Music started with as a band who sounded like their lead singers both had blown their voices out. But now he's trying to sing too hard and like throwing in vibrato, and I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, that's why I don't really like his solo music.
The vibrato on this record is egregious.
It's like he wants to be Springsteen.
It is a little too much vibrato. He can do it, like it's technically correct, but it's used in places that a punk band doesn't need vibrato.
The verse?
And it's I don't mind it on his solo stuff. I kind of enjoy his solo stuff more than the newer Hot Water Music stuff.
That I
because
agree with.
it at least kind of feels like the Gun Shy or something, you know, kind of just like a gruff punk vocalist doing acoustic music or semi-acoustic music. Americana, really.
Yeah. For me, I wish they hadn't recorded this album. I don't know, was it just them going, well, we need some more money? Because I don't think that's the case, because Chuck makes plenty of money doing solo stuff. Maybe Chris needs the money. He has some health issues, and that's like, he doesn't tour with the band anymore.
I'm sure they really just wanted to make a record, and I just...
Yeah. Well, okay, here's what it is. They wanted to make a record, but they were also like, well, I don't want to make a record like the ones we just put out solo, because Chuck had put out a solo record, and Chris had done the Ship Thieves, which sounds more like Hot Water Music than this album. And the Draft, didn't they do an album not that long ago, too?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think they were just like, let's do a new album, but let's not do what we've been doing. So they were like, well, what do you have? And they're like, well, I got this weird LA punk, skate punk riff we could use. It's like, well, I can rip off some Alkaline Trio.
Had a strong reaction waking up. Took a lot of reacting to get up. Walk away, pride intact. Walk away from heart attack. Tight lines of search and wreck and run. Take our legs and heart in, up inside. At least for a little while we don't feel like dying. Slow down my mind for it'll all subside. The storm is bound to pass in time. I'm never going back. I'm never going back to the alley where I woke. Doldrums I thought I'd never know. Shook it up at the shot of fact. Contemplated a shot to regret. Tight lines of search and wreck and run. Take our legs and heart in, up inside. At least for a little while we don't feel like dying. Slow down my mind for it'll all subside. The storm is bound to pass in time.
So, does Chris sing lead on some of these songs? I had a really
he
hard time
supposed-
telling.
He supposedly sings on 4 tracks, according to one review I read. But he sounded exactly like Chris if he did, or he sounded exactly like Chuck if he did.
So, I felt like the songs that Chris was singing, the ones that seemed like they were probably his songs, were the songs where the vocals were mixed way too low.
yeah, that's my thinking too.
And there was another mixing weird production decision. The background vocals are too wet.
I don't know what
Just
that means.
too much reverb. Like they just come in like a ghost oohing. Like
That's probably Kevin Sagan's
Boo.
fault. He does backup vocals on the album.
like these ghost background vocals and Chuck needs a glass of water.
Chuck. Yeah. Chris always had the rougher sounding vocals, and I always preferred them. Like they were like the drier sounding vocals. But there's a couple tracks on here which I think are his that are just like, what is happening? Like, oh my God, stop doing that. You sound like you're hurting yourself. It's just, I don't know. I think those are his songs, which he didn't sound like that on the Ship Thieves albums. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to listen to those Ship Thieves records, because if they sound more like Hot Water Music, then I probably would. The Hot Water Music that I like, I would probably enjoy them more. But
Ooh, don't listen to the first two.
no, yeah,
They're boring. But listen to the last one, because it sounds like a draft record, basically, which sounds like a Hot Water Music album. God, they made so many. They pressed 12,500 copies of this record.
So, what?
That's so
What
many.
is the deal with the Hot Water Music fan base?
Oh, they're brainwashed.
You make it sound so like insidious.
They're lacing the PBRs.
Because I have a feeling that you and I are Hot Water Music outliers. Like, we're not core Hot Water Music fans, because if you look at their discography, I don't ever really listen to anything past No Division semi-regularly.
No Division. Flight and a Crash has some moments. I don't listen to anything after. I don't listen to anything after Flight and a Crash. I don't listen to Caution or New West Next or Exister or this record, and I don't listen to Flight and a Crash very often. I think
I listened to the first 2 songs on Caution, and that's it.
I need a remedy.
And I hate this place.
Play trusty chords.
Yeah, New What Next though?
What was that? Sound like they were trying
Foo
to
Fighters?
be the Strokes, the Vines.
And I can't say I actually listened to Exister.
It was fine. It just is boring. Yeah, I know we're weird. I do think we're weirdos in the Hot Water Music fan base. I think Flight and Crash and Caution were most people's gateway to Hot
Those
Water
are the
Music.
Epitaph records. I mean,
Yeah. And so those people like those records because they're the first ones they heard, and they can they can go backwards, listen to the old stuff and like it too. But I think people who only like the early stuff can't go forward.
yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to say it's a sellout thing because Hot Water Music didn't sell out. There's nothing to sell out to. But once they stop singing over top of each other is when I stop paying attention to Hot Water Music.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, it doesn't do anything for me. And I was looking at reviews, and every single review for this album I found were glowing, super positive reviews about they're back.
That's the other thing, is there doesn't seem to even be a strong, like, the average editorial opinion is these records are great. They're a great band. They're great.
Yeah.
And they're not.
No.
And it's not that they're bad.
No. Well, this one is.
I don't even know that I would say this record's bad other than those 2 songs. I would say they're average. Unremarkable.
Definitely. And I know people are going to be mad at us for this episode because Hot Water Music are like fest
And I know
royalty.
they're beloved.
And
And for
Yeah.
those classic records, yeah, they should be.
yeah. But they've released so many albums that I don't care about that anytime they're ever announced to playing like fest or doing big tours, I'm not excited because they don't play anything before Flight and a Crash live anymore, which is bullshit. That's 5 albums that you're disregarding.
Well, they're doing No Division. And
Yeah. I feel like,
for those shows.
wasn't there another one?
And they're doing Caution and No Division for those shows.
Yeah. But even anytime I've seen them, they don't play anything off of No Division.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
I've really
for
only
to me
seen them
to-
in passing at Fest, just kind of like outdoors, and it was just like I didn't recognize any of the songs they were playing.
Yeah. I saw them at Crazy Fest. Like, I watched that entire set, and I've seen them in passing at Fest. And then Grant, who we had on the show, he went and watched their entire set, like in the front row one year at Fest, and was so mad they only played like one song before Caution.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is it too hard? I mean, like, are those songs... I don't know, you'd think that would just be second nature, though. They'd written them years ago, and they'd been playing them forever. Unless they were just like, oh, I hate playing
I'm
these
sure they
songs.
don't like them. I'm sure their tastes have
Yeah, it's
changed
gotta
and they
be
just
it.
don't like those songs anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And this record, Jason Black and George Rebello don't even stand out. And I've always thought of them as being like, at least the bass and drums are like really good.
Mm-hmm. I noticed Jason's bass playing on the second half of the album. It's got his bouncy style but I don't know. I guess we're in the minority when it comes to Howard music. But I don't know. I looked at the Rate Your Music reviews for this album, and they weren't glowing. They were actually right down the middle. Like, they were just like mediocre or, not as good as the old stuff. So I don't understand why music journalists are refusing to rate it properly. Though, looking at this one, it does have a 3.06 on there.
It is the second lowest rated, and the only one lower is by 0.01 points, and it's Finding the Rhythms, which is an EP compilation. Granted, that might be my favorite Hot Water Music stuff.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's wrong. Finding the Rhythms is great.
So that tells you what kind of Hot Water Music fan I am. Only the first 2 EPs.
The highest rated one is, that's weird, is the BYO split with Leatherface. And I'm wondering, is Leatherface carrying that? But as far as their actual albums, the highest rated one is Forever and Counting, which is, I think, accurate, because that is my favorite Hard music.
Yeah. Well, that's the one I would
for
say.
The hit game Forever and Counting. And
Forever and Counting is the one I would say is the objectively the best album. Not necessarily the personal favorite, but
these scores, Caution is a 3.59. It's just as close. Flight and Crash is 3.55. That's not until you get New What's Next that the scores start to go down. So, okay. I guess, so does that mean the only people actually writing reviews for Hot Water Music are just fans?
Super fans? It's possible.
Yeah. Because the one I read gave it like a 4.5 stars. I was like, what? No. It was like the Punk News review. And like the All Music review was really high. It was just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. This is not an album I'm going to come back to.
No. The only reason we did is because we drew it.
I mean, for as much as I didn't like hate it, yeah, it really didn't leave me with anything that I would come back to. If I were hanging out with someone, and this is purely hypothetical because I don't even know who would do this, but if I was hanging out with someone who was like, oh, this was Hot Water Music, and they put this album on, like, I wouldn't say no. I'd be like, if that's the album you want to listen to, that's fine, I guess. I mean, but I honestly don't even, I'd give it like a 2.5, 2.75.
I was going to say 2.75.
Yeah, that feels fair. Just below average.
Yeah, I do think it's their worst album. Yeah, sorry, Hot Water Music fans.
Well, okay. If you loved this album, tell us why.
Yeah. Please tell us why. I'd be willing to listen to a reason.
I don't want to, and then, I don't mean that in a condescending way, like, give your reasons, because you're wrong.
I'll wait for my response.
I want to tell you why you're wrong. Like, no. I'm really genuinely curious to know, is it just kind of like, it's serviceable?
Was it just nostalgic for you to have a new Hot Water Music album in 2017? Because it'd been a while, right? Because Exister had come out in 2012.
Yeah, it was a really long time.
It'd been a while. And even before that, it was 2004. So, is that it? I mean, I would understand that more than anything. And I know music is completely subjective, too. It's subjective art form.
Yeah, I just want to know, are there any songs on this record that mean something to you? There were some sort of, I want to say the only song on this album that seemed important was Sympathizer, because it seemed to be political. And it seemed to be, in a pretty broad way, pointed at the Trump presidency Yeah, I
didn't look at the lyrics this time around.
And just based on what I heard of the lyrics.
Yeah, the only song I thought the song Overload was probably my favorite on the album. And it's on the second half of the album. But mainly because it sounded the most like a Hot Water Music song. Yep. Oh, God, we've been recording a while. Let's,
Well, I have even less good feelings about the EP. So let's,
Woo!
I guess we'll move forward.
All right. So we got number 75 on the EP list. And it is Balance and Composure, Slow Heart.
This EP, I put it on as I was coming home from work today because I hadn't listened to it yet.
It's okay. There's only 3 songs.
And I immediately lost focus. Like I started to pull out of the parking lot, and I was like, "What am I listening to?" Holy crap!
You came to when you got home.
No, well, it finished before I made it home, so then I just skimmed through Hot Water Music again. But I had to keep turning the volume up. Like I wasn't turning the volume back down. Like I would turn it up, and then I would just kind of zone out on it, and then I was like, turn it up a little more. Try it. What is it? What does this sound like?
I know what it sounds like. It sounds like Christian rock from 2003. Let's run through some basics. Balance and Composure from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. McPoyles. Formed in 2007. This was released on Vagrant Records, which I did not realize were still a label, as a Record Store Day release. Why? But the personnel is John Simmons on guitar and vocals, Andy Slaymaker and Eric Peterson on guitars, Matt Warner on bass, and Bailey Van Ellis on drums. There's no edge to this rock
There
EP.
is. This is not a punk EP. It should not be on those charts. This is alternative rock.
Mm-hmm.
It is some of the most mind-numbingly bland alternative rock I have heard in a long time.
Yeah. It's just low energy. Like there's nothing to it. Like you said, you had to keep turning it up, and I'm sure that was just to be like, what am I listening to? Just to keep.
I remember thinking every song, I was like, I wouldn't start a song like that.
There was one that started with some synthy sort of breakbeat sort of, that I was like, hey, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
it wasn't that
and
interesting.
then I tuned back out again. I thought that was the drumming was the most interesting part of the entire band. I thought the vocals sounded like Kermit the Frog on Quaaludes.
So so they have some electronic elements.
Yeah,
and it's like mute math electronic. It's like Coldplay electronic.
Math.
Just
Snow Patrol. Is it Snow Patrol? Yeah, like it is. It's that simple. It's like, no, you just used an electronic drum pad to make the intro to this song. You didn't like program something special for it. You plugged in your Fruity Loops and let it go. All 3 of these songs sound exactly the same too.
yeah.
So, a few years ago, I probably would have said I liked Balance and Composure. I wasn't a fan, but I liked the little that I'd heard. I remember liking the first 2 EPs. I thought that their second EP, Only Boundaries, was actually pretty good. I liked their side of the Tiger's Jaw split, and I think I may even liked it more than the Tiger's Jaw side of the split. But then when the first full length came out, I could care less. I was done already. I don't know if it was just that a wave of emo revival had started, and I was already checked out of the sad, mopey ones.
Yeah.
And they weren't twinkly.
I mean, I know that I've listened to Balance and Composure before this, and I just have a blank. It's just like a blank spot in my brain of what they sounded like.
Yeah, they're like grits without butter and salt.
That's gonna make no sense to anyone who is not from the Southeast.
What's a?
It's like plain white rice.
It's like eating a pancake without syrup.
It's just really filling. Just like, ugh.
It's like
you ran out of syrup and there's one pancake left. And you just cram it down.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
it's like Basement. That band Basement that is also pretty much just an alt rock band now.
Yeah, it's like new Tiger's Jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went back and I even like listened to a couple tracks off of other like their earlier stuff, and all of those are much better than this EP. So like the early stuff was fine, good, fine to good. And then I listened to a little of their first album, and they were like doing that Midwest emo thing fine, and it had like that hint of Nirvana. Because do you remember a couple years ago when all the emo bands were like, and Nirvana?
Mm-hmm. When everyone wanted to be fucking Nirvana? Yeah.
Yeah.
When every post-hardcore band started listening to Hum, and
Yeah.
suddenly Basement was a grunge band, and like
Yeah. Seaway.
Saint Hood Reps band. Oh yeah.
Daylight, remember them?
So this is that sound progressed in the same way that grunge progressed
And so it sounds
into
like Sonic
alternative
Flood.
rock. Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's the adult contemporary alt rock of punk. If you're a Balancing Composure fan,
Jesus Christ.
please do not tank our reviews.
Please stop mistaking opinion for quality of show. So many people were very angry at our opinions.
And so it was never my okay. So I want to give a little bit of my personal editorial philosophy. In the many years that I wrote blogs for no one to read, and as that progressed into me writing for other, music news sites and magazines, websites, I never really wanted to write purely negative reviews. I never wanted to set out with like a pitchfork, shit on everything attitude. And that's not what either of us, I think, intended to do with this show. But
no,
it is the luck of the draw.
Totally.
And if I'm going to give an opinion, I'm going to give an honest one. So...
yeah, I mean, like when the people in Save-Ins messaged us about us being a completely listenable podcast to put on in the background, I was like, fair. Totally fair. That's what we said about your band. You could throw it back at me. I mean, it's fine. If you love Balance and Composure and Howard music, it's fine. I also want you to go listen to an episode on an album we did like, though,
right,
to get a frame of reference. Like, I know the medium of the podcast is you pick and choose what you want to listen to for the most part, and most people tend to just pick the episodes based on albums they've heard of or artists that they've heard of. So sure. But please go listen to an episode like our Wild Honey episode or our Coliseum episode or, hell, the Ramones. We love the Ramones. So go listen to one of those episodes and tell us you don't know what we're talking about.
Still so salty.
But you're right. I got this from a wrestling podcast, actually. There's a saying that they have where people talk about how the Attitude Era was always the best era of professional wrestling, especially in the WWE. And they started saying things. They coined the term the Positive Attitude Era, where you don't just shit on stuff just to shit on stuff, and you don't just talk about how everything else was bad. It was better. You try and find the positive, in just about any situation. Just more celebrate what you like. And I love punk rock. And the albums I love the most, I celebrate very, very much. And the albums I don't like, I'm not going to lie and say I like something when I don't, because what would be the point in that at all? But I also don't feel like I'm unnecessarily shitting on something. One Bad Pig aside.
That was fully warranted shitting. Yeah. So,
but I mean,
in the interest of saying something nice, the musicianship is not bad.
No, they're all very good musicians. I do think the bass and drums are the best part of the release. There's some moments where the bass kind of reminds me of like some later Me Without You, which I don't know if that's intentional or if because they were on the same record labels at some point, but they can all play their instruments. They can all carry a tune. It's not like, I just don't like the songwriting. Yeah. That's my biggest issue with it.
There's just nothing to really bite into.
There's nothing to hook you. So joining me for my other podcast, I need a fishing pun, but
you're
you could catch me out on the lake. Yeah, I don't know. What do we give this one?
2.5 because I paid even less attention to it than the Hot Water Music album.
Yeah, 2.5 seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Now you see why we didn't want to talk about these albums.
If you don't have anything nice to say.
Yeah, I do worry that somebody will listen to us and go, "You didn't like me." Most of the time, when I do say a lot of bad stuff about albums, I don't care. I don't care if Wednesday 13 listens to our Murder Dolls episode and gets upset. I don't care if Kosher listens to our episode on One Bad Pig and says, "You got it wrong."
Well,
I don't care if anybody in Flipper listens to our episode and doesn't like our opinion. Because if you look at our reviews, every member of Flipper listened to our episode and didn't like our review.
What are we doing next time?
Oh, we ended on a downer. So it's we got 1979. No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did. No, we got 1979, and it's number 12 on the album charts, and it is Buzzcocks, A Different Kind of Tension. Yes. And number 114 on the EP charts, and it is Sudden Fun with their self-titled EP. That one's kind of obscure. It's on YouTube. The little bit we sampled sounded interesting, so I'm excited to talk about that one. Alright, so please continue to rate, review, and subscribe. All our episodes are available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play. We have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a Twitter. They're all at punklottopod. And we have an email address, punklottopod@gmail.com. Please email us if you would like a free pin or button. And tell us why you liked Hot Water Music. Anything else?
I think that covers it.
Yep. I don't think we're going to get any new fans on this one.
Hey, you got to get some consequences in your work.
What does Seth W say? Take some chances.
Well, I'm finished.
All right.
I'm finished.
I was going to end it with an ABBA. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance. Stop.
Hey, Vern. Whew, it sure is hot up here, Vern. I bet you'd like a cold, smooth mellow yellow right now, wouldn't you? Yeah, I just bet you would. You know, Vern, there's nothing like a good old cold mellow yellow when you're all hot and sweaty. I think it sure beats that Mountain Dew. You know what that sound means in Russia, Vern? Empty. Verna! Oh!